Why hello tube. Today we have Michael Crichton's Travels. Crichton born October 23rd, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. Died November 4th, 2008 in Los Angeles, California. This is his I guess you call it an autobiography, right? Because he wrote it. I don't know the fancy lingo. So if you go to Michael Crichton's website, and the ferret is not cooperating. So you're just gonna have to deal with her. And for some reason, even though there's three houses on my street, 47,000 cars are driving up it right now. Don't know why. So if you go to Michael Crichton's website, uh, they give you a synopsis and a blurb in his own words. And so I've been reading those since I found them. Um, So the synopsis is often I feel I go to some distant region of the world to be reminded of who I really am. A narcissist, Michael. Let's just get real. When Michael Crichton, a Harvard trained physician, best selling novelist, and successful movie director, began to feel isolated in his own life, he decided to widen his. He had like 17 wives. He wasn't that isolated. Began to feel isolated in his own life, he decided to widen his horizons. He tracked wild animals in the jungles of Rwanda. He climbed Kilimanjaro and the Mayan pyramids. He trekked across a landslide in Pakistan. He swam amid sharks in Tahiti. And now I guess we're going about ready to get firebombed or something because now we have low flying planes to go with it. I have no idea what's going on today. But I only have a limited time to do this video, so we just have to push through. Like seriously, he's buzzing the house. Okay, fueled by a powerful curiosity and the need to see, feel, and hear firsthand and close up, Michael Crichton has experienced adventures as compelling as those he created in his books and films. These adventures, both physical and spiritual, are recorded here in Travels, Crichton's most astonishing and personal work. This is most astonishing because it's all about him. Oh, and now my friend's just gonna kick on. Thank you. Just because there isn't enough things ruin my audio right now. I first considered writing. Okay, so this is his blurb, and of course it's about 47 pages long because he's talking about himself. So I haven't read this yet, so this will be interesting. I first considered writing a book of travel experiences in the summer of 1981 while I was sitting thoroughly bored on a beach in the Seychelles. Because yeah, I mean, I have no idea where the Seychelles is, but you know, I oftentimes fly halfway across the world to be bored too. Waiting for a flight to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Okay. But I did not actually get around to working on it until 1986 when the dog decided he was just going to start chomping on his food now, too. Which we just gotta push on. I apologize. When I start a new book, I never know how it will go. Some books flow rather easily, and seems to happen naturally, almost effortlessly. I show up at the word processor and the pages come out. Other books are constant struggle, and each day feels like a battle. Each sentence in a paragraph hard won. These difficult books usually require extensive revision and sometimes must be entirely rewritten 3 or 4 times. Reading hard. This difficulty of writing seems unrelated to anything I can identify. My own preparation, my life at the time, the complexity of the planned book, and so on. Some books are easy, some are not. All I can do is begin one and see how it goes. Is he going to get to the point eventually, like this video? Okay. Alright. three houses on the street. Because I had never written an autobiographical book before, I regarded travels with some trepidation. In truth, I had been postponing it for some time. One of my New Year's resolutions for 1986 was to get started on it, and I began the book on January 5th of that year before I lost it. I can't picture Michael Crichton doing New Year's resolutions. I can't do it. I don't even think he believes his own words right now. I soon realized this writing experience would be like no other I'd ever had. Ordinarily, I worked in brief, intense bursts. Okay, you need to come in here. You need to lay down somewhere. Don't need to listen to your clippity clops. I work in brief, intense bursts, completed a manuscript draft in 4 to 8 weeks, and then setting it aside for many months before doing another intense revision. After several such revisions, the book is either ready for publication, obviously, or clearly flawed, and that I abandon it forever, or until you die, and then everything that you think you abandoned forever gets released. Because he has another book that being released mid next year that James Patterson of all people finished up for him. But Travels followed a different pattern entirely. The first draft took 6 months longer than any I had written before. The work advanced slowly but steadily, and I found it unusually rewarding. I finished each chapter with a sense of relief and even elation, as if I had been freed from some burden I did not know I was carrying. Oh, that was just a continuation of that sentence. I was reading it weird. I felt invigorated and emboldened to attempt more difficult episodes. So as I went along, Travels became more explicit and more personal than I had first imagined it would be. One of the odd problems of writing is that you cannot trust your subjective sensations about the work is going while you are doing it. Of course, you have feelings about the work, but those feelings are constantly shifting. I am often wildly delighted and deeply discouraged in the space of a single day. In any case, over the 3 years, I have learned that nearly all the strong feelings I have at the time of writing are likely to be wrong. But because the sections that I like best, the sections that make me laugh as I write them, those paragraphs that make me pat myself on the back as I read over them are the sections that seem cute and excessive a few months later when I cut them, wondering why I ever thought they were any good. And conversely, people buy a muffler, please. And conversely, the passages I dislike at the time I write them, the paragraph that seems clunky or obscure, often look just fine at a later date. Can we get to the point? There's only one paragraph left. So the elation I felt while writing Travels caused me to be suspicious about my first draft during the spring of 1986. I was pleased when in early 1987 I picked up the manuscript to begin revisions and found I still liked most of it. There were many chapters I disliked. They are gone now. Many others that found unclear. They are, I trust, clearer now. And many that I found too long. They are shorter. One chapter was removed for legal reasons, and many names were changed for legal reasons. But through all the changes and the subsequent drafts, I found I still liked this book. I hope you do too. So, Travels. When I first read Travels, this is a reread for me. I absolutely loved the book, and I think it's because I didn't know he was a hippie, and that threw me through a bit of a loop. He talks about he was a Harvard PhD student, worked for your Mass General, um, and it's pretty obvious he just did not like the medical field, the way it operates, and so on and so forth. So he took the Hollywood route. He already had books published by the time he graduated, and um, so after a while he went out to L.A. and did the Hollywood thing, and but you know, he talks about about doing retreats and stuff where they learn to see auras, people like see and read people's auras and just various hippie things, and that threw me through the loop because here's this guy that seems very no nonsense Harvard medical student, and here he is reading people's auras and things, and it was just kind of mind blowing. However, now with the reread, um, I see it differently because I've read a lot of other Crichtons now, so it hits differently. And I already knew about the hippie stuff, so it's like that wasn't a pleasant surprise anymore. I didn't like it so much. Now I read it after some upcoming videos. I'm like way behind on my videos, but I read it after reading Rising Sun and Disclosure, which both left a rather nasty taste in my mouth. I just, spoiler alert, did not like those books, and I see a lot more Michael Crichton in his books now, and so um I just I like, for example, in the Rising Sun, in his previous books, there's always been like one or two like kind of racial slurs and things where like, oh well, he's just it's the time period, he doesn't really mean it. It's just how people were back then, and Rising Sun is just all about Japanese racism. Like that's just what the book is. It's hard to read, um, and and Disclosure being about like sexual harassment in the workplace, but flip for the so that the man was the victim, and the book was just odd. Um, Not saying that it doesn't happen or anything like that. It's just was it a book that really needed to be written, and this dude went way further than a victim would willingly, and so on and so forth. So just it felt a little dishonest, and of course, Airframe is god awful, and so I was kind of down in a slump when it came to my Crichton readings. Luckily, holy moly, what is going on? Was that a tank going down the road now? Okay, before I was really interrupted by something that weighed 47 tons. Um, luckily, Timeline is bringing it back down to bring it back to enjoyable territory. Again, spoiler, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing any of these videos. Like I said, I'm so far behind. I just don't have a lot of time to record right now. But I don't even remember where I was going through all this now. I see Crichton a lot more in his works, and I'll tell you what, I am dreading State of Fear so much right now. I already know I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna go into it open minded because I didn't really think I was gonna like Timeline, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'll go into it with an open mind. But I just feel like I'm going to absolutely hate it because anything that Michael Crichton does that has like a set agenda, whether it be Japan taking over the world, or um, men can be victims too, or and that's not like me tooing any. It's just Disclosure was such a weird book. Like to me, it was more like somebody setting a fire and then screaming fire. Like it's like, do you really feel sorry for what if somebody set fire to their house on purpose and then they yell fire and their house burns down? Are you really going to feel sorry for them? Anyway, back to travels. I don't know why I'm talking about every Michael Crichton besides travels, but I gotta say on reread it didn't work as well for me. I'm actually interested because I know a lot of people have anytime I mention travels, a lot of people say they love travels. Interesting. Comment down below how many of you all have read it more than once. 'Cause that's and after reading, and when did you read it in your Michael Crichton journey? Did you read it early on in his books or later on in his books? Um, but if you would like to buy your very own copy of Travels, I have an affiliate link down below that I should have said this at the beginning of the video before everybody clicked off of it. Where if you use it, my affiliate link at bookshop.org to buy this book or any book, I get a small commission. You can also book an extra cost to yourself. I have a whole bunch of Michael Crichton content in the works. I am going to finish up hopefully Michael Crichton in 2024. Um, Bunch of playlists down below. Go check them out. Subscribe if you like this sort of thing. Thumbs up if you do as well. That helps me out because I am trying to grow. Now, if you are a travels fan, I have a couple of suggested readings for you. I know I have one video on this channel. Both of these might be on the channel. I don't remember if I did a video for one. One is Larry Brilliant, Sometimes Brilliant. I know I have for a fact I have a video on this on the channel. I'll put a link to it down below. Larry Brilliant was I believe he was a Michigan med student who was kind of forced to go on. His wife was was a hippie and went on the spiritual journey thing, where he was kind of forced to come along. And along the journey in India, he met Neem Karoli Baba, who is famously Ram Dass's guru. Um, and basically, Neem Karoli Baba said that you're going to go work for World Health Organization and you're going to help rid the world of smallpox, because smallpox, the last country to have the problem was India, because they just couldn't get people to get the vaccines and stuff. So he's like, yeah, sure, like I can just snap my fingers and become get in the World Health Organization and as an epidemiologist, and but it ended up happening. He basically started off as a cleaning bathrooms or something, and ended up being a major reason why there's no more smallpox that we have to worry about. Absolutely brilliant book, pun intended. Um, just so good. And then the other one, of course, is Being Ram Dass, which is semi autobiographical. Uh, he died before this book, sadly, became a thing. But his story, I don't know, I got gunk all over this. He, but he helped with a good chunk of it with Rameshwar Das and uh, Ram Dass, of course, born Richard Albert. Um, he was a Harvard psychology professor who got in with uh, Timothy Leary, and they ended up getting kicked out of Harvard for giving undergrads LSD. Of course, went on to um, do his pilgrimage in India, met up with Bhagavan Das in somewhere who introduced him to Neem Karoli Baba, and where of course that's he became Ram Das and became the guru to millions of Americans and basically the Westerners around the world. So, very good book. Just Randolph's such a character. Like, love him or hate him, he was such a character. It was great. So I think I'm. I don't know if I did a video on this or not, but if I did, I'll put a link to it down below too, where it's easily found. And I think that's it for this one, peeps. 20 minutes talk on travels, which really only talked about 3 minutes on travels and read a 10-minute blurb. But have you read Travels? Let me know down below, like I said. Let me know when you read it and how many times you've read it, and if it hit the same on rereads. I'm very interested in knowing that. So, sorry for the audio. At least I improved the background. I got rid of the ugly walls because this is really a nice place to record when everything is cooperating. It's just not today. That's it for this one, peeps. Cheers.